Molweni, molweni. And welcome to another Mahle Majola video. Thank you so much for clicking play. Please do like and subscribe to the channel. It costs you absolutely nothing, but it does wonders for me. It helps me get these videos to as many people as possible. And we have reached like over 1,000 subscribers, and we're on our way to 2K, guys. We're on our way to 2K. Thank you, Enkosi Ndiyabulela, all the languages. Thank you very much. Today I'm going to be sharing what a lot of people have been asking me, especially on TikTok. If you're not following me on TikTok, please go follow me on TikTok, Mahle_Majola or Mahle Majola. You will find me. Trust me, you will find me. So I want to answer the question as to why I moved to Sydney, Australia. If you do not know and haven't watched some of my videos, even here on YouTube, please do, so that the girl can get monetized. Please. Yeah, I'll link them in the description below so that you can start from the beginning and the journey with me. Those who are new to the channel, I've shared a little bit about my history and how I escaped a cult. Yes, I was in a cult back in South Africa. So it was a very challenging and depressing time in my life where I was struggling to, should I leave, should I not? I was very anxious, I was depressed, and a little bit suicidal as well. So I was just going through quite a lot in 2019, 2020, apart from the pandemic and everything in work and all of that. So I was very overwhelmed, and I was just in, you know, when people are, when the Bible says pressed down but not destroyed, at that point I really felt like I was destroyed and was just trying to ask God, why did he think I can handle this? You know, also battling with, is this church really toxic or am I the problem? You know, so many other things. So I decided to start looking for a job somewhere else. When I was looking for a job, I was looking for a job in Johannesburg because I wanted to leave and escape the church, what reminded me of the church, what reminded me, or places I had been with members of the cult and so forth. So I was trying to get away, like get as far away as possible from that situation. So I started applying to different places and I wasn't getting anything whatsoever. So I decided to make a bold move and I relocated to Johannesburg while I still was working for the job in Cape Town. So it was a huge risk for me because I could have been fired, my boss could have said no, but I just packed up and relocated, asked friends to find me a place. They viewed it for me, family viewed it for me, and I just relocated. I moved all my stuff and I went to Johannesburg. Me going to Joburg was also my cry for like change and basically help. I was trying to save myself from the mental state I was in at the time. So yeah, I moved to Johannesburg. So while I was in Johannesburg, I was not really applying for other places. I ended up changing jobs, finding a job in Cape Town at another agency. So I was working there and relaxed and, you know, comfortable and trying to regain my life and trying to find purpose again, trying to find myself again. A lot of sleepless nights, a lot of crying, a lot of just feeling hopeless for a very long time. So moving to Joburg really helped because it forced me to face myself, whereby when I was in Cape Town, I was just being distracted by a lot of things and I wasn't trying to deal with the issue and I just needed quiet time basically. So Joburg gave me that. It also gave me space and room to just like think and be like, do I want to be a Christian? Do I want to believe? Do I want to be an atheist now? What does Mahle want? You know, so that was the case when I got to Joburg. But at this point, I had found a new job, so I'm working at a new job in Johannesburg. So I was happy. I was improving. I was getting better. You can watch some of my videos about I've escaped a cult for a year now, how life is. Amazing stuff, happy stuff. I'm going out with my friends, I'm going back to church, I can pray again, and all these other things. Okay, this video is not about that. This video is about me moving to Australia. But the point is, I was not in the best of places in my life for a very long time. So when you see my TikTok and you're like, oh, you're living your best life, Mdasa, it wasn't always like that. I had a really miserable time the past 2 years, just getting back to normal. So fast forward, me in Joburg, my now is on like from being -10 to being like maybe 70, going into 80s, close to like 85% back to myself. Attitude and my personality coming back, and I can smile now and actually mean it. I'm not fake smiling all the time. So fast forward, then I'm in a much better state. December last year, no, not even December. So around January this year, yes, around January this year, I start pushing in prayer and just like being myself, back to myself, I guess. And a friend of mine said to me, because I was trying to go to Korea, because I was, as much as I was happy and finding myself in Joburg, I was still trying to figure things out. So I was considering teaching in Korea. So a friend of mine says, why do you want to teach? And I'm like, I just want to be out of the country. And then she says to me, but you don't want to teach, so you're gonna get there and you're gonna be miserable. And I said to her, ideally it would be still in my industry. I would love a job overseas, but still in my industry, And then she was like, have you been applying? I said no. And then she was like, then go and apply, and you never know what's gonna happen. So I get home that night, I apply, and I filter my search on LinkedIn, because that's how I got my job. I filter my search on LinkedIn and apply at every single thing that I want. What's important about LinkedIn is you use those filters wisely. So if you want to say worldwide, choose the company, choose the industry, choose remote or hybrid, choose, like, make use of all those filters. Don't just be like, oh, I'm not gonna be picky, whatever comes my way. That's not how you're gonna find your dream job overseas. What you need to do is use those filters. Choose, is it a mid-level, is it a senior level, is it a junior level? Use all of that. So that's what I did, because I was looking for work internationally. That's what I did. I used all those filters to the T. Almost every single one of them, I ticked something. And then what's important is to switch on your notifications so that you get them on email. So that's very important as well. So that's what I did. So I would get the posts on my email, and then I'll just check which one I want to apply for. Another tip is to upload your resume, your CV on your LinkedIn account, so that you don't have to fill in every time. You don't have to be on the road and have to like now go find things on your laptop or on your phone. But if your CV is already uploaded on LinkedIn, you just click a button that says apply and it automatically goes. So that's what I did sometime in January this year. That was not even a focus of mine. I was still trying to go to Korea, child. I wasn't trying to move anywhere else. That was my thinking. So in February this year, something crazy happens. Former creative from the agency I was in says to me, hey, this where I'm at right now, because he had moved, they're looking for a producer to head up the production department. And I'm like, okay. And I was like, yeah, so I recommended you. Is this something you would do? In my head, I was like, of course, let me have a conversation. I was happy with the agency I was at, so I was just like, the reason I would move there and not overseas would probably be money, and also the opportunity for me to head a department, which I haven't done before. So I had the conversation. Great, amazing conversation. They wanted me to come for a second interview, and then that was in the works. This is February this year. At the same time, I think 3 days later, I get an email from WPP. If you don't know WPP, the lead big group head of my current agency. So, hi, you applied for this position a while back. Are you still interested? Because we'd like to have a conversation with you. I'm like, sure. And then I actually go and I check the link. It's what I had applied for when I was still in Cape Town. When I was looking to move to Johannesburg, that's when I applied for it. That's before I even filtered everything on my LinkedIn. That's before I was more intentional about moving overseas. So I'm like, yeah, sure. And then I checked, it's in Australia, went for one interview. Guys, to say everyone was so welcoming and so accommodative and yes, I don't even know how to explain that interview. It was, when people are just like, oh, it was a chat. That wasn't a chat. That felt like I had two older brothers looking out for me, wanting me to succeed. That's how I lived that interview. I felt like I have family. Even if they didn't choose me, there would be people I would call up and be like, I'm struggling with this at work. How do I tackle the situation? So that's how I felt after leaving that interview. But now, do you understand? I have two people, two companies. God, I have two companies that are trying to have conversations with me. And the first company comes back, I do my second interview here. There was a point whereby the interviews were on the same day, but because of the time difference between South Africa and Australia, I could do them on the same day. And on the 28th of February, I remember I got my my offer letter from company number one in South Africa. And I remember asking them, like, do you want me to resign today? Because it's the 28th of February, my notice is 1 calendar month. That means I need to serve notice in March and start in April. And they were like, yes. And I remember being as difficult as possible because I was just waiting for the Australian company to come back to me. So I said to them, what the amount that you have given me, which is wild. The amount I had asked for, let's say I had asked for, I don't know how to make an example of this, but it was way over. Do you understand? Way over my current salary. It was way over my current salary at the time because I was just like trying to steer them away from me so I don't have to make the decision. I wanted them to make the decision for me. So I gave them a ridiculous number. And then they came back, they're like, oh, sorry, we can't do that number, but we can do like 3K less. Even that was wild, 3K less. And then I just had to like be finicky and I was just like pushing back and I was like, I can't accept that. I need the exact amount. Guys, and well, I can't say these numbers out loud, but for me, that was ridiculous that they were giving me an offer which was that amount and it was less by 2K, if not 3K, from what I had originally wanted, which was there's a word, or prosperous. There's an English word, but it was just ridiculous. And I pushed back because I was trying to wait for the Australian company to get back to me. Mind you, the role that I currently occupy here was not being advertised for someone who's in a different country. So they had to consider I needed visas and they would have to pay for all my visa. And a visa is not cheap. I think it's like $1,042. So it's not cheap stuff. So also just like I was just nervous the whole time and I wasn't sure if they were gonna choose me, but I couldn't respond to company A without getting company B's offer, and literally like a week later, you can imagine my anxiousness at this time. A week later they came back and they gave me my offer letter. So that is basically how I got to Australia. Yeah, that is how I got here. Such a long story, But I do want to encourage every single person who wants to come and work overseas to please take LinkedIn very seriously. There's people have been applying and have been applying and have been applying, but nothing is coming up. And unfortunately, it is a thing of like the recruiting company choosing you, or the agency itself choosing you, or but it don't stop. Just don't stop, because someone will see it and someone will use it. I hope you take my tips very seriously, especially if you want to work abroad, to like filter. If you even know the company you want to work for, filter it by that. If you know which country you want to be in, filter it by that. Because I'm thinking now, if I had gone to Korea and majority of the people don't speak English, I would have been very frustrated. So if you want to filter it by countries that are English speaking, then filter it by that. If you want to filter it based on the success of your industry in a certain country, then filter it by that. Your experience, how you want to work. Think of it as your ideal job. Don't think of it like, oh, I want a job overseas. Think of it as, if I got my ideal job, what would be the conditions for me to work? And filter them on LinkedIn like that. Yeah, that is my story. I will share more details in terms of like visas, applying, all the documentation I had to get, and then I'll share another video on the expenses of actually moving to Sydney, Australia. But thank you so much for getting this far into the video. Please do like and subscribe to the channel. Bye.